Good evening. My name is Guilherme Cavalcante. I'm a 30-year-old biologist with roots in the state of Pará. Some years ago, my research led me to the heart of the Serra de Carajás, where I dedicated myself to investigating the intricate consequences of mineral extraction on the local flora. It was a significant scientific undertaking, the results of which would demand time and careful observation. During my explorations in the region, I had the good fortune to meet a family descended from the courageous Kayapó people, a group that once dominated vast stretches of these lands. With unparalleled generosity, they shared with me a treasure trove of ancestral knowledge about the plants that thrive there. They revealed to me the secrets of herbs with healing properties for a myriad of ailments, from persistent headaches to discomfort in the legs and bones. They unveiled the uses of plant species in the treatment of itching, cuts, and wounds, demonstrating an empirical knowledge that transcended any academic compendium. I learned lessons from them that I would never have found in books or previous research. Their familiarity with the region was intrinsic, and they deeply lamented the scars left by the voracity of mining. Among the various people I had the privilege of meeting, one elderly man in particular captured my attention, the respected Ibir. His mind encompassed a vast knowledge of the flora, avifauna, and the myriad creatures that inhabit these forests. Throughout his long life, he had accumulated countless experiences, but one narrative in particular sparked my deep curiosity. This unique story was confided to me on a serene afternoon, while I and his descendants were discussing the dangers that lurk in the jungle. Ibir, attentively following our conversation, spoke with the wisdom of years. The greatest danger lies in the ignorance of how to act in the face of threat. And with this premise as a prelude, he began his fascinating recollection. In my younger years, we had the custom of seeking sustenance through hunting near the rivers, places where the fauna congregated to quench their thirst. However, my adventurous spirit impelled me to explore the depths of the closed forest, a domain where the skill of the hunter was truly put to the test. On one of these expeditions, accompanied by other companions, we sighted men of unknown origin. They wielded firearms and were also engaged in hunting. We remained hidden for a while, awaiting their departure. However, I perceived that their conduct denoted more disorientation than proficiency in the art of hunting. I possessed a certain fluency in the language of the white man, and on impulse I called out to them, who showed relief upon seeing me. One of them approached, imploring, "Please help us escape from this jungle." We were forced to abandon our hunting camp and ended up getting lost in the vastness of the forest. I agreed to help them, although the cause of their getting lost remained an enigma to me. Then, one of them elucidated, everything happened. Suddenly, we were gathered in our hunting camp around the fire when we began to hear the footsteps of a large animal that surrounded us. Initially, we conjectured that it might be some large feline, but we soon perceived that it was a much larger creature. A shadowy figure emerged from the jungle and charged at us. Amid the panic, everyone ran in search of refuge, and only 3 of us managed to wield our weapons. We were 8 men in total, but 3 went in one direction, and the 5 of us in another. I don't know if it was luck or a cruel twist of fate, but the creature we saw pursued the other 3. We don't know their current whereabouts, whether they are still wandering lost like us. "What kind of animal was that?" I inquired, and the man, his face etched with terror, replied, "It was a wolf of gigantic proportions, which stood on 2 legs like one of us. It resembled a colossal bear with a lupine head, adorned with sharp claws and teeth that surpassed those of a jaguar in size. I have never witnessed anything like it. It seemed to discern its targets and manifested the intention of dispersing us. As you can see, only 3 of us carry weapons, precisely those who managed to retrieve them in the midst of the attack. The others, I saw them flee desperately, wearing only the clothes they had on, and they were the focus of the pursuit. of that monstrous entity. It seemed aware of their vulnerability, considering them easy prey. However, in the heat of the charge, we had no time to devise any strategy, only the yearning to survive. Ibir continued. We helped those men find their way back, but we were powerless to aid the others, as the risk of getting lost ourselves in the attempt was imminent. We returned to our village after providing assistance and reported to the most experienced the story we had heard from the hunters. Apprehension took hold of their countenances, so much so that the elders were summoned to deliberate on the situation. Then we were instructed on the measures to be taken. My father, one of the most venerable of the tribe, warned us the night fires must burn with redoubled intensity, and long hunting expeditions are strictly forbidden while the threat of the wereman persists. We will not be able to venture into the forest in search of food. The elders firmly believed that the creature that had attacked the outsiders was a wereman or werewolf, as it is more commonly known in modern times. A solitary entity that hides in the dense forests and emerges on dark nights, transforming into a monster capable of taking the life of anyone who crosses its path. Ancestral accounts narrated the fate of entire tribes that were forced to abandon their homes due to the relentless attacks of a wereman who spared neither hunters, elders, children, nor women. It was a creature of unspeakable cruelty, who killed without hesitation, driven by an insatiable hunger. In those times, the comforts of today were non-existent. We depended on collecting water, cultivating the land, and hunting for our sustenance. Even living under the specter of the fear of the wereman, the need to feed our families impelled us into the forest. On one occasion, a hunting group was late in returning. Night had already cast its dark cloak when the fires were raised high, in the hope of guiding the lost back home. Then we heard their cries echoing through the forest and responded with our own shouts to signal the safe path. When they finally emerged from the forest, a sinister shadow pursued them. The intense light of the fires momentarily halted the creature, and we glimpsed the wereman moving stealthily among the trees. Many years have passed, but I will never forget those flaming eyes and the guttural growl that emanated from his throat, a sound much more potent than that of any animal we had ever faced, and infinitely more terrifying than any nightmare that could haunt our dreams. A gigantic black wolf scratched the trunks of the trees with its sharp claws and stared at us intently. However, none of us dared to take a single step back. Even gripped by fear, we remained firm in our positions, for showing weakness could be fatal. Although he was in our midst, the wereman seemed to sense a fear in us and paced back and forth, with those colossal hind legs, much larger than the front ones, which clung to the tree trunks. The wereman perceived that he would gain no advantage there, and retreated into the impenetrable darkness of the forest. Many of us spent countless nights in vigil, tormented by the images of that terrible night. Others developed a visceral fear of entering the forest, even during the day. Fear for their families hung over everyone, but in fact, we lived under constant danger. Many months vanished without the wereman being sighted again, and gradually normalcy returned to our routine. The elders of that time passed away, taking with them a vast heritage of ancestral knowledge. After that period of terror, we heard no more news of attacks by the wereman on people. Then the white man arrived with his noisy machines and began the exploitation of the land. More people came, building houses everywhere, relegating the mysteries of the night to a secondary plane. I spent several days immersed in the culture of that community, and my research advanced significantly, but nothing compared to the power of the story that the venerable Ibir confided in me. Every day, animals that we once believed extinct are rediscovered. Unknown insects are catalogued, and new plant species are found. How many more secrets can this world hide from our knowledge? What else lurks in the shadows of our forests? Could the wereman still roam the Serra de Carajás? My reason tells me no, but ancestral wisdom prevents me from dismissing that possibility completely. Good night.